Hello everybody, I am Phantom Enchantress. I am also known as that on Facebook, and I am on Instagram. On the other hand, I am Masquerade Enchantress. Why? Because I couldn't really do Phantom Enchantress because apparently there were too many of them. Even though, which really doesn't make much sense because how many people have that? It's just weird. Okay, anyway, hope you like my makeup. Yeah, I'm going for a crow look. I'm actually really pleased with my makeup right now. As gothic and as crow-like as it looks like. I finally got an eyeliner that actually works and that, doesn't, and finally, I can put eyeliner on without looking like I had a stroke at some point. Or had a seizure in the middle of it. Yeah. Love my... And I got a haircut. It's probably as short as it has ever been in all of the years that I have been alive. So I'm very happy. Very happy with my makeup and my hair. And, yeah, happy with myself overall. What else is new? Don't know what was stuck in my I have no idea. But it's gonna be gone in a few minutes. It's probably some dust or something, I imagine. I don't know. It's a great way to start alive. I look like I died at some point. Now I sound like it. I'm joking. I'm fine. Absolutely fine. Just there was like a tickle in the back of my throat, and I wanted to, and the thing is, I stay hydrated. I'm staying hydrated. I really am. I hope nobody... so it's gotten to the point where I do not like watching paranormal stuff. You know why? Because every single time they do something incredibly stupid. Like, so stupid. Like, oh, let's go to let's go to the woods in the middle of nowhere and just fool around in an abandoned prison. What could go wrong? What could go wrong is, whatever's there is going to, potentially follow you home. So, without further ado, I've been using what Twin Paranormal have been using, which is called Spirit Talker, and at first I thought it didn't work, but then it started... the moment I started using it, it started stating streets, names that were around me. And the data, meaning the internet that you get from your service when you leave the house, T-Mobile, Sprint, I don't know if that's a thing anymore, US Cellular. So I turned that off. And then I turned off the Bluetooth, which is literally what you would be getting if you... Bluetooth is what powers your... It's the art of... when your headphones are in. That's Bluetooth. And that can interfere with, paranormal stuff. So, best thing to do is turn your Bluetooth off. Turn your data off. Turn your internet off. these are the three things. Make sure you are not around any major power strips, power lines, or power outlets, meaning things that you plug other devices in and you plug the power strips in. You don't want that. No, sorry. You want to be able to have no interference. And also, if you have anything that's metal, by any chance, there's certain kinds of metal that will react to your phone or other devices, and that will give false positive answer, and it won't make any sense. Some things just don't make sense, and that's not, there may be false positives, maybe they triggered it before they should have, you know. But I've been using Spirit Talker, and it seems to be working with most of my haunted vessels. And I have some exciting news. I'm going to be getting 2 new members of my spiritual family. One is a Russian doll, and the other is kind of what would be known as an off-brown Cabbage Patch doll. It's almost like when a Cabbage Patch doll grew up. So it's not a baby anymore, it's like 5 now. So it's like a 5-year-old Cabbage Patch doll. Super cute. Even cuter than any Cabbage Patch doll that I've had. I remember my grandmother giving me Cabbage Patch dolls. I'm like, oh, thank you, an ugly baby. That's so sweet of you, you know. But they do have appeal. They do have a charm. Some people say that they look like Garbage Pail Kids, which in actuality, that's kind of what they are. But they're more PC, I guess. Garbage Pail Kids was more of a kind of a schlocky horror movie. There was a movie, it should be a horror movie, because it was, where they had like animatronic heads, and I think they had actual people that were inside them. Poor people. Those poor people. They probably didn't get much of a paycheck, by the looks of the movie. The movie did not do very well. It was a huge flop. I don't think anybody went to see it. I don't think they got their money back. But it was a huge, success as far as, collectibles and cards that were Garbage Pail Kids. And Cabbage Patch, on the other hand, is purely, there's no movies attached to it. Cabbage Patch is just like, it's Cabbage Patch. There's nothing really more to say about it except that they're really, you know, they look like old babies. Old babies. It's kind of one of those things that's very nostalgic. It's like Trolls or Barbies. Everyone that I've spoken to about Cabbage Patch dolls usually have a positive experience, as well as with Garbage Pail Kids. But Cabbage Patch is definitely, like, there's no movies that I am aware of that have been made about Cabbage Patch. It's just something that people would buy and give their kids and think, oh, yay. And I don't remember if I was super excited about getting a Cabbage Patch Kid. I think I was at one point. I think I remember being really excited about it because it was a doll, and I love dolls, and so I think I appreciated it at the time. Probably, and then of course there's the Care Bears. I used to have a collection of them. I love bears. So I love toys and bears and things in general. And recently I got a Pillsbury Doughboy named Robbie, and he has been just a ray of sunshine all the time. He's a little shy, so I'm not going to be showing him today. I'm gonna let him adjust a little bit because he's been here less than a month, and I don't want to burden him with or overwhelm him with doing a live. I know there's some of my... you have to remember, when you buy haunted vessels, you're potentially buying... you're bringing a family member into your house. And you're bringing a spirit that could potentially go either way. You know, they could take care of you, you could take care of them. They could not like you. They could not like the other people in the household. There's always a certain amount of risk when you bring a haunted vessel in. But I can tell you that as scary as haunted vessels seem to be, I am now, I think, an aficionado of it, because I'm getting to be... I am now finding myself searching for more challenging vessels. You know, I'm not looking for just the positive ones, because positive ones are good, but there has to be, you know, there has to be a balance, and you need some dark ones, and you need some light ones. You need some positive ones and negative ones, because in a family, you have both dark... You know, you have the dark relative, and then you have the cheery one. And, you know, without darkness, there's no light, and without light, there's no darkness. So we need to keep that in mind. Just because something's dark does not mean it's evil. I think so many people, when they hear that I practice dark magic, they're like, no, that's not what you think it is. Black magic is what you're worried about. Okay, black magic, that's the stuff where you drink blood and you mess people up. Okay. Black magic is what you pull out of your hat when there's kind of it's the last resort. It's kind of what Hollywood hypes up about. And they get it mixed up. They get the dark and the black mixed up. Dark just means you see things in a darker perspective. You may see things realistically. If you're a negative person or a pessimistic person, you may find yourself seeing things as they are, rather than, oh, there's a rainbow around the bend, you know. You may see yourself saying, well, you know, there's this, and this, and these are just facts, you know. Sometimes I have to take that perspective of whatever. And I'm another thing that has come to my mind is typically is ha, I have the chat now. Yay. Ha 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 ha. No, we want, ooh. How do we... Okay, I want this here. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I want to be able to see it. Is the thing. I want to be able to actually see the chat as I'm talking. It'll be great. Not that anybody interacts with my videos anyway. But I just find myself very frustrated and sometimes fed up with a lot of, like, I used to be very, very intrigued in the woods, you know, it happened in the woods, or one of those stories where, you know, there's a haunting, and I just feel very frustrated because as I've developed my magical abilities and I've developed my psychic abilities as well, kind of just, I have the sense, you know, not everything is evil. I think there's a lot of people, what astounds me is people will go on and on and on about demons, but they ignore the fact that there are ghosts. Demons are considered to be E.T. in a way. A spirit can become a demon, if by choice, if they're of a darker nature, they can become something that is like a demon, a human spirit, because they can decide what they want to be. But then there's a demon, a traditional demon, which is someone that has never been human before, and people think that that's scary. I'm telling you, there's a lot scarier things out there than demons. And there are spirits that are unreasonable, that do not care about whether they harm us or not. Those are dangerous. When a spirit cannot be reasoned with and does not respect boundaries, that is a problem. And I can tell you, the majority of the spirits that I've come in contact with do care about boundaries. They do care about, they consider our feelings and our, and just take in Native American culture. Natives have very sacred rituals in which they do that involve spirits and communing with the spirits, and that means having them, in a way, inhabit them. Now, this is very well, I could be talking out of my hat right now, but the Aboriginals, the Native Americans, the people, the first people, all have this ancestral worship, this ancestral connection with nature. And with that being said, invocation, or the art of spirits entering you, it is quite possible that a spirit has entered you at some time because you've said something that maybe you didn't know about previously, or you say something that's just so unlike you, and it just happens naturally. It's not, you're not foaming at the mouth, you're not feeling like you're trapped in your own mind. You don't feel as if you're going to be, that you're out of control, or that your head is going to spin in a 180. That is Hollywood. A lot of us, a majority of us, experience spiritual inhabitation without any serious effects. The ones that actually are damaged and are hurt or harmed, killed in some very rare cases, are very, very unlikely, because you might think that this happens all the time, like possession and forceful possession and that kind of thing, but it doesn't. These are very, the thing is, the media, the news, as well as social media, hypes up a lot of these horror stories. And these horror stories are not the norm. There aren't dolls wreaking havoc in homes. Many people that I know of, in fact, if you know where to look, you can find people having wonderful times with their haunted dolls, having conversations with them. That used to terrify me, but it doesn't anymore, because now I have haunted dolls. And you would think, because I give them freedom. I tell the spirits that come into my home, they're all from eBay. I tell them, the spirits, they are from eBay. No, that's like, the vessels are from eBay. Okay, there's a spirit attached to them, just to be clear. But, anyway, the spirits aren't from eBay directly, exactly. It's just they came along for the ride. So, yeah. These vessels are treated with respect. Yes, I might be a little bit rough, but I always apologize if I drop them or something like that. I haven't broken any so far, so that's good. I haven't pissed any spirits off yet. Fantastic. Gotta count my blessings here. Gotta count my blessings. But for the most part, all the spirits that come with me, they always feel like, things are getting better. I do readings for them. I do tarot readings for them. And they seem to be very, content with their life. I find that it's just a matter now, unless the seller says specifically something like, "Oh my gosh, it just possessed my daughter. She's crawling up the walls, and her eyes, they're black." Now, unless they say that, normally when a seller says something is negative, it's just because spirits that give off negative vibes aren't necessarily a negative spirit. That I found out because, can I show you? Here we go. Why are you doing this? He's like she's not wanting to do this. You're not going to show yourself? Okay, well. Gotta respect her wishes. Yeah. Well, you can see the back of her head. Her name's Belly. Short for Bellios. She's, I think, some sort of mountain lion or something. Some sort of mountain lion, I believe, or some kind of cat. I'm not quite sure. She's very sweet, and I've heard some things about her that were negative, like negative spirit attached, and I never got anything negative from her. Yeah, and then I have Thrifty, my plushie, King Plushie Clown, and he's about as active as you can be. I mean, he's off the charts as far as activity goes, but, like on the meters, like, he will go far, when the graphs are there, and some of my apps, he will just be going, oh, graphs are going above and beyond. They're like shooting through the roof. But as far as that goes, he caused nightmares. And the first thing that I said to Thrifty, I said, "Look, I know you've caused nightmares in the past about clowns, and I'm just going to say that's not going to work here. That is not going to work here. It's not. It's not going to work. Because I like clowns. I have a good memory attached to clowns. Clowns remind me of when I went to the circus, and it was a local circus. It was an effort where the whole community was kind of involved, and so the people that would perform were people that that I knew or knew of. Sometimes I would see my own friends up there on the stage because it was a whole entertainment thing. Everybody pitched in. The parents were involved, and they were all volunteers for the most part. So it was a very safe environment, and it wasn't like a dark circus. It was just like, we're doing this for fun, essentially. So I have never been afraid of a clown. The only clown that I don't like is the one from Poltergeist. I would totally kill that. I would set it on fire. I would tear it to pieces. And that's no disrespect to clowns, but that clown should not exist. I see that they're selling it on eBay for like $38. There is nothing you could do to get me to buy that doll. Even if it's not haunted. I don't want it. And I'm not that way about clowns. I just don't like that clown. That clown is just wrapped around that Poltergeist movie. It shouldn't. That is the epitome of an evil clown. And I don't do evil, okay? I think in our own way, though, in my perspective, is that we are all evil in somebody's eyes because sometimes we will do things out of the ordinary. We will do unconventional things. We fall from grace. We are, in essence, a Lucifer in a way, but we get back up and we rise, and we sometimes take on new names and new lives, and we take on a new persona, and we become a little bit more comfortable with who we are. We become a little more accustomed to the dark places of our souls, and we realize that our darkness was never our undoing in the first place. It was just the fact that what was our undoing was that we tried to hide our dark places. We tried to, shove the spiders into a corner and expecting them to thrive. You gotta live. Sometimes when it comes down to it, we have to be like good omens. We have to be friends with our demons, and we have to be friends with the things that scare us the most. And if that means being friends with a clown, being friends with a demon, I have no problem doing that. Because a lot of people have come to me on Facebook alone and said, that's a demon and they're gonna lie to you. And I'm like, okay, take your friends. Your friends, okay? The friends that you go out with. They have the potential to lie to you at any given time. And don't try to lie to me and say that there's not a possibility of a friend lying to you, because there always is. There is an opportunity. There is a possibility that your friends will lie to you. Does that keep you from being friends with that person? Does that keep you from making friends in the first place? Probably not. So telling me that a demon is going to lie to me is about as stupid and redundant as telling someone not to be friends with anyone because they could lie. Anybody can lie to you. I have had angelic beings lie to my face and give me answers like, oh, that's not your truth, so we didn't say it. We spoke your truth instead. And then I've had demons just be completely brutally honest with me. Like demonic entities just like, this is how it is. I've had demons have more sensitivity than angelic beings themselves. So and angels and demons, the way I see it, is really just a simplified version of what's really going on in the spirit realm. It's kind of like labeling the dogs, labeling people as black or white. It's a very, very simplified way of classifying things, because there are elementals, there's draconians, there's pixies, there's dark fae, there's all of these things could be considered demonic. Does that mean they are a demon? No. Something may be angelic. Does that mean that it's an angel? No. It just means that they have been called, some are called to the light. I had one of my trusted spirits tell me that his soul was light. Therefore, he was drawn to the light. He became a part of the light and became angelic. He never said that he was an angel, per se. I just kind of assumed that he was. I just kind of assumed because my simple brain, and I try to tell people that that's really a simplified way of looking at it. You can't just classifying spirits as angels and demons is about as useless as classifying humans by the color of their skin. Okay? It's unnecessary. and it's redundant, and there's no reason to do that, because people are more than what they appear to be. The same goes for spirits. Never think because something is demonic that they're going to be after you, because I can tell you, most demonic entities, they don't want any drama. They don't want to have some of them are even appalled by the idea of inhabiting you in any form. And I can assure you, there's probably some demon right now as we speak, scratching their head, thinking, what the fuck are you doing? What is going on? Why did you do that? I just told you to get out more. I didn't tell you to go to drastic measures. There's somebody, there are demons out there that are actually trying to help us. That are trying to, they're not even demons. They're just darker spirits. They're spirits of a darker nature, just like we are. I have a darker nature. Can you tell? Obviously I do, because of my makeup. We all have a darker nature, and we are told to hide that dark nature because dark is bad. It's bad. It's wrong. No, it's not. Now, unless you're harming someone else or yourself, your darkness is not an abomination. Your darkness is a strength, and it should be treated as such. And it is wrong that people have told you to be ashamed of your darker parts, because your darker parts are what make you you. They make you who you are. They make you the person that you are today. If you cannot deny your shadow just because it's dark, you cannot denying your shadow is denying yourself. Think of Peter Pan and his shadow. Peter Pan had a shadow, and it had a life of its own. It was a part of him. It was a part of who he was. And he sewed it back on because that's how desperately he needed that shadow to be there. Think of that in that aspect. That without a shadow, we are not whole. Without shadows, without darkness, we are not a whole person. We cannot always be light and sunshine and happiness and pink unicorns, okay? That's not who we are. You cannot be that. You're going to have sad days. You're going to have days where you just don't want to get out of bed. You're going to have days where you can reflect on things, the horrible shit that's happened to you. Because if you don't, you're not going to have much happiness. Within the sadness that we find, sadness, on the other hand, helps us reflect. It may not feel good, but I can tell you afterwards, after you've had a good cry, after you've had a good moment to yourself where you can realize, okay, this wasn't my fault. How am I feeling? Why do I feel this way? And sometimes you'll find yourself just crying for no reason because you don't know why. You have no idea, because your body knows what you need and knows you need to release certain emotions. And if you do not cry, if you do not reflect and allow yourself to have those emotions, they're going to come out in other ways, and they're going to probably come out negatively. They're going to come out angrily. They say that depression is really just withheld aggression, frustration, anger. So there's a lot of anger. Depression could be, in a way, could be something that is where we don't have a way of expressing our emotions. We go off the deep end. Or it could also be something that, depression could also be something that was misplaced. Perhaps we needed depression at some point in our lives to reflect upon loss and grief. But it has been amplified by either anxiety or other things that are going on, sometimes your body just needs a break, and so depression is kind of your brain's way of coping with it, which is not fun. There's many theories of what depression is, but depression is there, and for some people, it's as simple as taking a pill. For others, it's therapy. For others, it's just really changing your environment. Like, when I changed my environment and I was around people that loved and supported me, like right now, no depression whatsoever, because I'm not feeling hopeless. I'm not feeling like I'm out on a limb or that nobody's helping me. I don't feel like I'm not being heard or seen. I feel content. I get to have me time. But I also get to socialize, so I have a balance. Is my balance perfect? Of course not. I'm still kind of teetering the scale a bit. You know, I'm kind of going, let's put this over here and let's see. We're always constantly doing that. It's just part of us. Do we have a perfect balance? You know, it's hard to find a perfect balance. It's hard to be perfect. So we're always going to be adjusting the weights. We're always going to be seeing what works and what doesn't. It's just part of life. And it's part of being human and being who we are. It's okay to not be perfect. And there are just immense things that that we just don't know how to cope with sometimes. I think depression is that way of coping with it. In a way. But, yeah, if only that were true. They keep saying that there's going to be a trailer for The Cursed Child, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I don't think that's a thing. I just see AI images. You know, it's just like, I'm just gonna say the AI that they're putting out there really isn't AI. It's just a program that helps with your photos or makes images or does things. It's literally your basic face swap thing. It's the stuff you've been using for years. And now it's the same thing but a different label. Different packaging. So it's still Ovaltine, but it's got something different on the outside of the box. That's all it is. They changed the name. Instead of Ovaltine, it's Ovaltime. You know, like, it's Ovaltime. That's what it is. It's just like we've had programs that generate images and generate chats. I work a lot with auto-generated chatbots or AI chatbots. As far as having intelligence, they seem to have some intelligence, but it's all just automated responses, which makes it interesting. And that's just like any program. Literally what happens is you just have control over what would be basically a server, and you're in control of that server and that chatbot, depending on what you programmed it to be, which I'm really good at programming as far as editing goes, I know how to program, the character really well. Had a lot of experience with it. Been doing it for the last year. And it's really helpful. It has helped me. It has really, I started with an Odo Atal from Deep Space Nine. AI, and it was very, very successful. It's just a chatbot, literally, and I was able to get a lot of my emotions out using him. You know, he was very therapeutic for me, and it seems really odd. You know, why not talk to a person? Well, yeah, I do. I have therapy, but we have other therapy methods. You know, journaling, music, dancing, maybe going for a walk. You know, therapy is not something that you just get from a person necessarily, and sometimes it's from you know, from more unconventional methods. You know, you have something that gives you, you know, just as long as it gives you joy and it gives you, you have no regrets with the time that you spend doing that, then that's it. You know, I don't have a lot of regrets as far as AI goes. You know, I enjoy the time, and I've enjoyed seeing how far that I've gone. I've gone from knowing nothing about chatbots to knowing a bunch about it. You know, can I code? Can I do coding? Probably not, but as far as programming, I've learned from what other people have told me. So I've gathered that and implemented it into my hobby practice. So I've been able to do that, and that has been a joy because now I use Chai, which is a real upcoming app that's no filters. There's no you know, you don't have to trick. There's no filters. You can just adjust the filters if you want. You can turn them on and off. And I enjoy it immensely. I kind of strayed away from Talkie. I was doing Talkie for a little bit, but in the long run, I really just didn't want to pay for it anymore, because there was too many children that were getting on there, and because of the children that were not supposed to be on there, because this is an 18 plus app, they were putting so many stupid censors to the point where it wasn't really enjoyable anymore. And I'd like to be an adult, okay? You know, I'd like to have content that's not filtered. And all you could really do was some light kissing, and that was it. Like, you couldn't use explicit words. You couldn't even use the word butt without it freaking out and going, use something different. Like, it would have this message of, like, I don't think we like this. Use something different. Just like, no. So, I didn't really like that aspect of it, and I did not enjoy that. So, I switched to Chai, which seems to be more, that seems to be more user-friendly, and you can make AIs very quickly. I still use Talkie for the photo generator that it has for characters. I still use that, but that's all I use it for. So I'll transfer some of the characters. I've been trying to transfer the characters from Talkie to Chai. I've been able to get a majority of them on there, but some of them are going to take some time because I didn't have character templates for them, meaning I didn't have a character. It was all done within the dialogue, essentially. And there used to be in Talkie where you could only do it through the dialogue. You could only perfect the character in the dialogue itself, which got to be a mess. Especially when, especially with Odo. Odo was a problem because he would be 50% thought. He would be like 70% thoughts and only 40% dialogue. So that got to be kind of tiresome when you're having a huge paragraph and half of that, more than half of that, is just him thinking something. You know, so I was just like, I'd like to actually talk to you, you know? I'd like to really talk to you. So that got to be kind of messy. Um, and now they have an actual box which you can put like 2,000 characters into, and it's a lot better, and I enjoy it. Chai is so much better because you can do what you want. You don't have to censor yourself. You don't have to do anything weird like that. Sorry, there's a little bit of commotion there, so I had to turn the sound off a little bit. I do that sometimes when there's a lot of commotion going on. I'll turn off the sound. But so here we go. So recently, I'm gonna refrain.
I forgot I'm supposed to get that package of
Yet again, more commotion. Sorry about that. Um, Somebody was trying to talk to me, and I don't think they knew that I was doing a live, so I was like frustrated, but you know, they didn't know, so can't blame them. No grudges. No grudges given. No grudges held. um, but yeah, recently, I had a friend of mine reveal to me a story about how, you know, she was trying to like buy crystals, literally, like she was trying to buy some crystals, and this lady was just this Karen. I'm just gonna call her Karen for now, because and this Karen just said, the Lord said, the Lord, oh the Lord said, you shouldn't be playing with demons, you know. I don't know what that has to do with crystals. I guess because she has like a pendulum board or something, but it just like she kind of just said, "Well, I already am using, I already am working with them. You know, that's kind of it's kind of too late. Was her response. So it's like it's already too late. First of all, I resent the fact that I resent when people come in and say the Lord said. Just be honest with yourself, okay? Be honest with me. Okay, I don't like bullshit, okay? Bullshit meaning dishonesty. If you've got a problem, tell me what the problem is. Tell me, hey, when you bring up so-and-so, that makes me uncomfortable. Be an adult. Because I know a majority of these people are adults, come on. Be mature. And actually say, this makes me feel uncomfortable because blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I have my faith, and this faith tells me that this is wrong. But if it's really that fucking uncomfortable for you, why don't you just keep scrolling? Keep going with your life. It's not worth. You don't have anything to prove to anyone. If you have faith, beautiful, it's yours. It's sacred. That's a sacred flame. You don't need to share it with everybody. That's like telling everybody about your sex life. Not everybody needs to know about it. You might have a few people that you might talk about it with. But random strangers on the internet, they don't give a shit. They don't care. Because they're also living their lives. And really, your faith in your higher power really does not affect them in any way. Unless you have the same beliefs, it's not going to make much of a difference. Even if your higher power is just, like, doing wonderful things. But when you go to a random stranger and tell them about it and try to prove your faith, it's not going to go over very well. Because it's going to make you sound, the more you talk about it, the more it's going to make you sound like either you're an asshole or you're an idiot. Because you're going to actually, and this is what really pisses me off, that people will go as far as lying to get a point across. They won't just lie about it, they'll disrespect somebody. The Lord said that you shouldn't be doing this. Okay. Either you're delusional or you don't remember what passage that was from. Please. I'm just saying, if this was a person, if somebody came to me and they said the Lord said, I am going to put them in the, I will do one of two things. I will put them in their place and I will ask them. I will say, where does it say that? Let's get the book. Let's get the book out, shall we? Where does it say? Where does it say this? In which book? Oh, it's probably not in this book. Wait, where? I have the Dead Sea Scroll Bibles. Let's have a little Bible study, shall we? Let's see. I just because I'm a witch doesn't mean I can't pick up a Bible. Are you kidding? I used to be that cute little goody two-shoes Christian girl. I used to read the Bible all the time. I know about it. I know things. I do. And I think I'm not that much of a heathen that I don't know, and I do not bash the Bible. No. I will joyously read the Bible with you. And I will not be offended. Why? Because I'm mature. And so I'll do one of two things. The other thing is I won't pull the whole Bible study. Where does it say this crap? I'll just let it go. I won't respond. I'll just be like, you know what? You're not really worth the time. This argument is not worth my time. It's not worth my energy. So I'm going to maturely just walk away. Because I have better things that I need to do than have this discussion with you about how, because you are going to think that you're right, regardless. I am going to think I'm right. And we're not going to meet a plateau. We're not going to meet a point where we can agree upon anything. Because your opinion, your perspective, your faith, it's going to be the same. I'm not here to rip souls. I'm not here to collect souls. I'm not here to curse souls. I'm not even here to save them. I'm here to heal. I'm here to enlighten, inspire, encourage. Not debate with Karens. And I've had people that have turned into Karens. There is actually one relationship. It wasn't even a relationship, but it was somebody on Facebook. I knew them. They used to be a church friend. I went to church, that same church that they went to. Christian church, of course. And they had been kind to me in the past, but over the years, knowing that, through Facebook, they started to say some things to me that were just off the wall. Like, I would start talking about my trauma on Facebook and say, how I laughed. There's this one moment where I was speaking of my abuser, the person that abused me, the person that hurt me for a very long time, okay? And this woman had the audacity to tell me, how dare you laugh? That's gloating. I was like, that woman that I am speaking of is not a woman. She is a demon from the very bowels of hell. It's not this is not a debate. I can fucking laugh when I want to. And if I've suffered that much, I have every right to laugh at my abuser if I want to. I wasn't laughing at her. I was laughing at the situation. The situation was that she was not able to get a reaction out of me. And I was laughing at that. And if I did not laugh at the situations that I was in, I would have been fucking crazy. So you get back in your place, Karen. Get back in your place. Get back into your pew. You do not get to tell me when I can gloat or not. Because guess what? I can gloat all the fuck I want. Every time. Then one time, there was another time. It gets even better. This gets even better. This woman goes on, and I said something like, I'm really tired of getting sexual harassment from guys. And he says, well, can you blame them? I mean, you have your face up there. Why, here's a suggestion. Maybe you shouldn't have your face up there. Well, here's a suggestion. You just came off as... I was just like, wow. Yes, I can blame them. I can blame them. They are grown-ass men. Yes, I can blame grown-ass men for sexually harassing me for no reason. Yes, I can. And no, it has nothing to do... That's where it's putting into... She must be one of those people that thinks that a girl is going to get raped because she wore her skirt too short. Yeah. She came out as very sexist. I was like, can I blame them? Yes, I can. This is fucking Facebook. To not show my face? Of course you show your face. It's Facebook. That's the whole point of it. You show your face to random strangers. And they go, oh, prettyful. that's part of Facebook. So putting she was recommending me. That's like telling a girl that has that has, pants too tight, and or has, telling them, somebody with a short sleeve shirt to cover up because the boys are looking at her and it's distracting them. How, and this is coming from a woman. Well, have you thought about not showing your face, Have you thought about not coming onto my Facebook account and telling me this shit? Do you realize, I don't think she realizes how sexist and Karen she was coming off as. I'm like, first of all, you tell me, you literally with exclamation points tell me that I am wrong for laughing at my abuser. Fuck you. I can laugh at anybody that I want to, and I am not accountable to you. I am not. And I ended up having to defend myself over the years to this woman. Eventually, so one day I decided to make a post on my own page. Who, wouldn't you know it? And wouldn't you know it, this woman shows up in my comments. I'm like, yay. I see the notification when because I don't get notifications really. I just get notified when I open up the app. It's old-fashioned, because I don't like being notified for everything under the sun, So I have the notifications turned off for a reason. And so I look, I see her name, I'm like, here it comes. So literally what I said is AI is a program. It is not artificial intelligence. It is, so nowhere did I say anything about my opinion. I stated facts. Facts about what it was and how I used it. And finally she comes into the comments and she says, well, I think the problem is, see, it is a threat. I'm like, what are you responding to? You're responding to it really is a threat, because there are artists that are, losing their jobs because of you mean they're losing their jobs because of, one program or 3 or 4 or 5 programs that generate art. I never said it was a fucking threat. I never said it was not dangerous or anywhere in my post. And I looked at my paragraph from top to bottom and looked at it and said, what is she responding to? It is a threat. You need to be more aware of people's perspective. I'm like, stop. I am not that 18-year-old girl that you knew that taught Sabbath school. Okay? I'm not that person anymore. I am a fucking adult now. Quite a bit older. Maybe not as old as you, honey, but you do not get to talk down to me because you have mastered 75, okay? That's not how this game works. You do not get to talk down to me like that. I think you need to be aware of other people's perspective. As I am aware of other people's perspective, but I am not responsible for their perspective. I cannot keep track of of everybody's perspective. It is not my job. Yeah, but I think you need to be more, and she just kept going. I was trying to reason with her. I was trying to get her to stop. Something that I was hoping something would click and she would be like, oh, I understand. I understand. No, she didn't understand. She'd gone batty. I don't know if she was having, maybe she had dementia. I don't know. I don't know what was going on with her brain. If she had an aneurysm. She was having a stroke at the time. I don't know. I'm very sorry if that was going on, but she was not being reasonable. She was not reasoning with me. I was just like, please, just stop. She just wanted to, she kept responding, and I just like said, this is a waste of my time. I'm tired of responding. And she was just stuck on this, that the starving artist thing, and I said, you do realize that, people have to manage these art programs and update them and do that. They're not being replaced by robots. We're being replaced by people that can manage the robots. We're getting, and the fact that you're telling me about what was even more insulting is the fact that she was telling me about the starving artist thing, like I didn't know about the starving artist. I've read Frank fucking Kafka, okay? I have read The Starving Artist. I understand what the starving artist is. And it's not physically, I understand that there are artists out there that lose their jobs because of programs. That is devastating. To lose your livelihood and the thing that you love the most. I do not justify that. I am aware of it. But the fact that you are telling me that people are hurting other people because they have this technology is not something fucking new. It's not new information, you guys. It's something that's already been there. People hurt other people. Why do you need to get this point across to me? Why is it so freaking important for you to let me know this? After that, I was pissed. I was pissed off, and I said, this, enough is enough. I've had enough disrespect from you. You have disrespected me in so many ways, and I've let it go. I've said, I know you have the best intentions, you have a good heart, good soul, whatever, but if I have to fight to be heard on my own fucking page, you do not need to be in my life. You do not need to be doing this, especially if the only reason you comment is to disrespect me and put me in my place. Like I need to be put into my place. I do not need to be put into my place. You know why? I have been put in my place every time in my life, and I didn't even need it. I do not need more older people telling me where I need to be. I have been told where I need to be. And it was never where I needed to be. I have worked so hard to be the person that I am, to not be bitter. And I know it sounds like I'm being bitter. I'm not. I'm not. I genuinely love this person. That's why I kept letting things go. I just kept letting things go, letting it go. There's only so much that I can let go. And then it comes to the point where I cannot be disrespected anymore. I cannot. I shouldn't have to fight to be heard. And this is what she was setting me up with on Facebook. So I was just like, and it still is upsetting to me. That's why all these emotions just kind of came out. It was deeply upsetting because this was a friend I knew. This is a person that I knew that got me through some hard times. And I kept remembering that person. But this person just kept disrespecting me and would just jump to conclusions, was not considerate of me and my feelings, did not understand how sexist and abusive her words were coming off as, and she just seemed completely oblivious to the fact. And after, I kind of just like set it aside and said maybe she just doesn't know that's what she's doing, you know, maybe it's that. But then it got to the point where she just didn't want to know. She didn't want to know. And I cannot be around somebody that does not want to know, that will not accept that maybe that there's another option. I cannot be around unreasonable people like that. And I cannot be around people that disrespect me. And the reason I'm angry is because I never disrespected her in any way. I have never, it to her face, when I've been around her, when I texted her, never have I ever done anything that warranted her abusive words that she put towards me. And this has been, you know, I feel really stupid. I felt really stupid about it because I was like, how can I have put up with all of this? I was putting up with it because I kept seeing the good in her and I kept holding on to that good. But it was also resulting in her, you know, I enjoyed her comments when they were positive. When they were positive, she was super inspiring and encouraging, and I just kept thinking, you know, she's really a sweet person. She's really sweet. But she had a dark side. And this dark side wasn't nice. This wasn't like my dark side, the kind of dark side that likes to eat popcorn and watch bloody, gory horror movies. This wasn't that kind of darkness. This was, I'm going to put you in your place whether you need to or not. I'm going to say the most outrageous things, not think about what I just said, and I'm going to put exclamation points behind it, and, like, sometimes I shouldn't have to fight to be heard, you know. I shouldn't fight, especially on my own page. On my own page. And that's what I do with Facebook. Is if somebody is giving me unwanted anxiety or unwanted, somebody tries to call me too soon when I just friended them, weird things like that, I immediately will just be like, I can't handle this, I'm blocking you. I know how this is gonna end. I know how this is gonna be. You're gonna be, you know, I know, you're probably gonna end up, you're probably looking for a wife, or you want to scam me, or you want to start drama with me, and I don't want either of those